as, hey, this is a way. Ow. This is a way, thank you, my love, because I forgot. This is a way for us to get where we need to go and do the things that we need to do or that we want to do, right? So my name is Brittany Greene, and I am the CEO and founder of Crown Financials. And I started my journey 2017 to be exact. There we go. I started my
Brittany, stuff like that, you don't have to worry about. We'll take care of it. So you could just focus on the presentation and we'll let people in.
Oh, okay. You know, I was trying to tap the screen. It's not letting me go forwards and backwards the right way. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was trying to tap the screen, but I guess I was up there admitting folks in.
Okay, no worries. We got you.
Thank y'all so much. So I started my journey back in 2017 because I was denied for a promotion and a job because of my credit. So, and at that time, I didn't know that lenders were, or employers were looking at your credit to determine if you could get that job. So to date, I coach my students on how to build and increase their credit score anywhere from 50 to 300 points without having to hire a credit repair company. Have you guys ever heard of credit repair companies, or are you guys familiar with credit to any capacity? Let me know in the chat if you've ever heard of credit repair. Perfect. Ayana says, yes, she's heard of credit. Okay, Natalie, you haven't heard of credit or credit repair? Just kind of want to heard none. Oh, goodness, I'm in the right room. Oh, yes. Oh, taught me a little bit about credit. Oh, shout out to geometry teacher. Period. Okay, awesome. So we're going to learn about what credit is and why it is so important to everything that you do, right? Now, I'll be honest with you. When okay, I guess it's letting me. Okay, well, you know, we're going to work with the technology things here because it was kind of lagging for me to be able to go to the next slide. So over the next 45 minutes or shorter, we're going to be learning about mindset, credit, what credit is, the scoring models, how it's scored, and why it's so important to you. And now I don't fault anyone for not knowing about credit because it's not traditionally taught in our school system. And even when you go to college, it's not taught, but they will ensure that you end up with a credit card when you get to college. So you'll be able to educate your peers. You'll be a part of the 1 to 2% that knows about credit and its importance around everything. All right. So drop some of you guys' school choices in the chat. I want to know where you guys are thinking about going to college, and you're never too early to figure out where you're going to college. And I can kind of give you some insight on what's going to be happening as you transition. So when I founded my company back in 2017, I had just exited college, right? And even in the quote unquote adult world, they still didn't teach you about credit. It was something that you had to go seek and find. So you guys are getting something amazing because it's something that I wish that I got back in the day. But now I'm able to teach students just like yourself these different things. So I graduated from St. Leo University. That is a small college on a ranch. Literally, we had cows and horses and sheep all around us. But that was such an amazing, experience for myself. So I want to know where you guys are going to be looking to go to college. Boston University. Oh, okay, Michelle. CSI. That's all right. You right on time. You right on time. We got here. All right. So I'm originally from Detroit, but now I live in Florida. But I'm going to make sure that I make my way up to New York because I know we have a lot of New York folks in here today. Albany. Oh, Albany State University in Georgia, or is it somewhere else?
They have an Albany, New York, right?
Albany, New York? Oh, yes. Oh, I visited that college. I'm not gonna lie, the food was really good for the day that we visited. They had collard greens, they had fried chicken, and it was really good. I will say that. If it's the one that's in Georgia.
I feel like that school back in my days, at least, was like party school. I don't know what it's like now.
It's still a party school.
Okay.
I almost went there.
Yeah.
I visited and I was like, ooh, but I didn't want to pay out of state tuition. So I stayed in Florida at that time. And so, Okay, she says, yep. Okay. Yeah, no, they have some good food. I think you can really enjoy it. And the atmosphere is really good. Like everyone there, it was so friendly, so loving. So I think you're gonna really like it there. So I graduated high school in 2011. I feel so old saying that, but I'm still young. So we're gonna run with it. But I graduated high school in 2011. And the first thing that happened when I got on campus is that they had these tables set up and they were offering credit cards. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something, okay? Me, I love food. So when I walked up to the table, they were offering pizza in exchange for a credit card. I didn't know what a credit card was really. All I know is my mom said, do not get credit. I didn't know what she meant by that. I just knew that if I ever came across the word, don't get it. But when food was involved, they said, hey, if you sign up, you'll get a free box of pizza. As a broke, hungry college student, that was my meal for the next 2 days. So I was gonna do it. That's when I found out exactly what credit was. And I actually destroyed my credit in college because credit is one of those things where someone is loaning you money and you're getting a chance to swipe and buy your food and all of your things that you need for college, but you are responsible for paying that back, right? So I had a system. I would wait for my refund check to come in and I would pay on that credit card balance, whatever it was. And then great, I'm using it again until I racked it all up. And that was my strategy until I graduated, right? Once I graduated and the refund checks stopped coming in, my credit went completely downhill, right? Then I was denied for a job due to my credit. I had credit cards that were maxed out and I had to end up building my credit a total of 3 times. Good question, Jamina. So a refund check is when you get to college, right? Well, this is the best part. So when you get to college, right, you're gonna apply for financial aid and they're gonna give you an amount of money. They're gonna say, hey, we trust you with to pay for your schooling. We know that you're going to either pay us back. If it's student loans, meaning they're loaning you money, we trust that you're gonna pay us back, and then they'll cover your tuition, or you may receive scholarships and grants. So scholarships and grants are things you don't have to pay back, right? Student loans are things that you may have to pay back. But when they compensate and cover your full tuition, they may say, okay, well, now you have $1,000 extra, or, oh, you now have $2,000 extra. So because of this, we're going to give that money back to you. Now, when they give that money back to you, it's up to you with what you do with it. You can decide if it's student loans. Hey, I want to start paying back on some of these student loans. Or you can say, hey, this was just an overflow from my scholarships or an overflow from my grants. I'm going to take this money and maybe invest, or maybe I'm going to keep this money and get groceries for my dorm room. That's what the refund checks are. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. But yeah, so somebody say, I love me some food too. All right, Michaela, that's me. Love me some food, okay? And that was exactly what I was using my credit card for. Food, parties, having fun. Okay, perfect. Tia, you said yes, kind of. Let me know how I can clear it up any further. Understood. Brando says understood. I want to make sure that I got y'all that we're here. We're here.
I felt like for my refund check, like that's what I was able to use my little extra any college thing for, right? So any little extra thing you could just use that refund check for.
Right. And just to kind of make it a little bit more clear, let's say, for example, that your tuition is $10,000, right? Just saying that, I know that's an absurd, beautiful number that we all would wish that we could have. My school was like $35,000 a semester from August to December. It was ridiculous. So I'll just use it for the simplest terms, right? Say, for example, your school tuition is $10,000, right? Yet once you get to, once financial aid steps in and covers your entire tuition, they say, hey, we're going to grant you $12,000, right? Once they grant you that $12,000, they take out the 10 for your tuition and they give you that 2,000, the extra 2,000 is going to come to your bank account, or it's going to come in a check form. And they're going to give you that money and you get to decide what you do with it. I use mine for rent, expenses, and entertainment. Yeah.
I used it for school books too, because the books are expensive. So some of that went to school books.
Ooh, let me give y'all a quick college hack, okay? She said, oh, I get it now. Great, great, great. So when you go to Amazon, you can look for used books for when y'all get to college, right? Or for those who are already in. When you get there, Amazon, look for used books, look for Chegg, CHEGG. They have your discounted books, or go to like the used bookstores in used school bookstores in your county to be able to get those books, because, and then find out if you're going to use them. Because that's important. All right. Perfect. So I had to build what's called credit literally 3 times. And that's normal sometimes, right? And we're going to go into what credit is exactly and how it pans out. Okay. Just letting you know a little bit about me so that we're not total strangers. And then at the end, we're not looking like this. Right. All right. So I love me some Jordan. So to date, I've been able to help my clients understand and establish credit to what makes sense to them, so where they're able to live the life that they want to live by getting homes, cars. Maybe they want to do businesses and they need business credit, right? Maybe they just need to get their, when they're starting an apartment, they may need to get the lights turned on. They may need insurance, or they're getting their credit fixed because they need to qualify for a job. And like I said, I know I'm in the right room because no one in here commented and said, yeah, I want to be broke. No one said that. So I know everyone in here wants to actually do some things. So we're going to go over the basics from ground up. Okay. I was able to develop content, videos, books, courses that help people understand what credit is, how to use it, and how to ensure that you're not a part of the system that keeps you back. Because I'll be honest with you, the way the system is set up right now, they get paid when you're in debt. They get paid when you can't pay your bills. They get paid when you have a credit card and you can't pay that thing back. That's where they get paid. So they get paid basically for you to be in an uncomfortable place. And I don't think anyone in here likes to intentionally be in an uncomfortable space. Okay. So let's dive into what it is. Project Pre-Rich, that's my brand, as you can see here. So let's talk about mindset for one quick second, because this is a new concept for literally almost everyone here who has not been exposed to credit. So I need you to type this in the chat exactly as such. I'm gonna be nice to myself. In the most Ebonic form that you can get it. I'm gonna be nice to myself. I need to see those flooded in the chat, because I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a new concept, and I'm not expecting you to get it overnight. In fact, I left my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn at the end of the presentation so that you guys can follow me, learn more information, and have this thing be something that becomes a second nature. I don't expect you to get it all in one day, right? But I do expect for you to say, hey, you know what? Even though I may not get it all at one time, I'm going to be nice to myself, because this is knowledge that I need to know. And I'm going to keep stabbing at it. I'm going to keep going at it until I understand. And then I can go off and do the things that I need to do. Because I'll be honest with you, even when you know the information, you'll still be tested. You'll still have those trying times, those trials, those things that kind of test you to see if you, whatever it is that you say you want, that you really, really want. But in those times where we can be hard on ourselves, right? We have a goal. A lot of you guys have goals that you're doing in your teenage years that you want to achieve. And if there's struggles or things that may happen to kind of delay things, I still want you to keep this mindset check in the back of your head. I'm gonna be nice to you, be nice to myself. Oh, Tia, okay, she said, I'm gonna. Come on. It'd be real nice if I see, I'm gonna be nice to myself. Oh, yes. Oh, yay. Oh, I'm so happy. Everyone say they're gonna be nice to themselves. Good. If you take nothing else away from this PowerPoint today, take that you're gonna be nice to yourself for the rest of your life, because you have to. There are going to be things that happen, but you have to remember, I'm going to be gentle with myself. I'm going to be nice to myself, because guess what? You're operating off of knowledge, new knowledge that, hey, you may not have known beforehand, but afterwards, I'm operating in this new space, this new system, this new time frame. So always be nice to yourself. Awesome. I'm so happy to see so many people in the chat agreeing to this affirmation, because I'm all about affirmations, right? Awesome. So let's talk about what life and credit have in common. It breaks down to these 4 different components. So before we hop in, and because I know some of y'all are like, girl, what is credit? You still ain't told me what credit is. We getting there, right? But we want to set the stage. We want to set the foundation. So to see what mind and credit and life has in common, it breaks down to these 4 different things: discipline, strategy, education, and consistency. Because guess what? You have to have a discipline to play a sport, because there are going to be days that you suck, right? You have to have discipline to play an instrument, because there are going to be some days that you suck, but that's okay. That's okay. Embracing that and saying, you know what? I have the discipline to keep going and keep learning as I go. Strategy. Everything buckles down to strategy. Having an understanding, okay, not just going into it with the mind of, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to try some. Now, don't get me wrong. That's still great to put yourself out there and try some things. But as you're learning and you're growing, you develop a strategy. You develop a system of how to complete that task very efficiently, right? It all boils down to how you're strategically molding something out. Okay. And in order to develop strategy, you have to have education, right? Yeah, the school education that they give you is great, but you also need life education. So the goal of today is to open your eyes to different things. If you've never heard of investing, start looking up ways to invest. If you've never heard of credit building or business credit, hit Google, hit TikTok. I know all of y'all are on TikTok. I know all of y'all are on TikTok. Because if you're not, and my old behind is on TikTok, and y'all not, we got to figure something out, right? But they have videos that can educate you on the different topics of real estate, right? It may be real estate that may be your thing. And if you don't know what real estate is, hit Google, hit TikTok, and find out those things. But educate yourself. That way you can develop a strategy. Into the last point is consistency. Not what you do one time, but what you do over and over and over again is going to breed those results. So when you fail, failure is a good thing, right? I fail as much as possible, as quick as possible, because that's a good thing. I know that in school they try to teach us, oh, failure is bad if you get an F. You know what? Take school outside of the equation. Failure is good because it teaches you a way that didn't work, and you move on to a way that does work, okay? So is all of this making sense to you guys? Drop a 1 in the chat so that we can go ahead and get into this credit education. If it's making sense, drop a 1 in the chat for me. Let me know that you guys are ready. Come on, Tia, with the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Niece, is it Nicia? Michaela, Michelle, MD, Joy, Brando, Jamina, Natalie, Ayana. I love to see it. And Senya, 1, perfect. I'm glad to see that this is making sense so far. So let's get into the nitty gritty. All right. So let's go into takeaway number 2. What is credit? Okay. Credit, simply put, is broken down in the ability of, let's just say it's me. I'm going to call somebody out in the chat, right? I'm Brittany. And let's just say I have $5,000. And Ayana says, hey, Brittany, I want to be able to borrow that $5,000 that you have because I want to build my credit. And I'm going to say, hey, Ayana, I got you. I got you. Now, Brittany's a bank. This is Brittany Bank and Co. All right, Brittany Bank and Co. And I'm looking at Ayana and I say, all right, yes, here's $5,000. And whenever you use this $5,000, I am trusting that you're going to pay this $5,000 back. Now, simply put, she may not use the entire $5,000. Credit breaks down into 2 types, right? It breaks down into loans, meaning loans are, hey, I'm just loaning you this money. You're going to pay this $5,000 back, plus a little more extra for the time that this money was away from me. So If I loan it to Ayana as as a loan, it's going to say, hey, here's the $5,000, but I'm expecting you to pay this back plus an additional, let's just say, for example, an additional $500 for the time that this money was away from me. That is a loan, okay? A credit card is something a little bit different. A credit card is saying, hey, yeah, Ayana, I'm going to give you this $5,000, right? And every time, let's just say, for example, she uses $200 and she pays that $200 back, she now has that $5,000 to work with again. So here's the key differences. With the loan, once it's paid back, that's it. Our agreement is done. You paid me back. You paid the $5,000 plus that $500 fee. Great. Our time is done. But with a credit card, hey, I give her that $5,000. She uses it, but she pays it back. She now has $5,000 again that she can continue to use over and over again as long as she pays it down. Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Drop a 2 in the chat if it doesn't, and then post your question so that I can answer that now. Perfect. Brando say 1. Ayana says 1. Perfect.
Excuse me, miss. I understand the loan part. Can you go over back the credit card part again?
Yes. Of course. Who was that talking to? Was that Tia?
Yes, Mrs. Tia.
Hey, girl.
Hey, baby.
Hey. So, that's a great question, Jamina. I'm gonna answer that in a second. So with credit card, right? It may look like this is my hotel key. This is a credit card, right? I'm gonna say, Tia, here's a credit card. You get to use this at your disposal. Meaning, hey, I can go to Chick-fil-A, I can go to New York Pizza, right? I can rack up I got a $5,000 limit that I'm able, that's the max that I can spend. It's $5,000. But let's just say I'm only going to spend $100 at Chick-fil-A, New York Pizza, Fashion Nova, Shein. That's where I'm going, right? I would say Shein and Fashion Nova, knowing I'm going to spend more than $100, right? But I'm going to spend that amount. Well, guess what? Let's just say, I spend that money on the 1st of the month, right? On the 15th, I have a due date with that credit card. So I have to pay this credit card back, right? So I say, you know what? I have $100. I spent $100. I have $100. I'll go ahead and make payment on that, right? Make a payment on that. And it gives me my entire $5,000 limit back. Okay, so I'm gonna even type it in the chat. Let's see if I can type it in the chat. Let's see what I can do here. It's not gonna let me type that in the chat. All right, phenomenal. It don't want to let me type that part in the chat. My numbers have been giving me some issues. Okay, so, but Tia, is it making sense so far?
Yeah, miss, I think I understand it now.
Okay, perfect. Because once let's say, for example, you have that $5,000, right? And you spend $100, that takes your limit that you have left to spend to $4,900, right? And that means you have a $100 balance. Meaning, hey, I got to pay that $100 back because I agreed when I opened this credit card and I said, hey, I'm going to be spending this on a month-to-month basis. I have agreed and told them that I'm going to pay this money back. So each month, I'm going to make sure that I pay that balance down. Whatever I spent, I'm going to pay back. This is why I'm going to talk to you about a good strategy that you can use on your credit cards to be able to pay those things back and return that balance. So when you have that $5,000 limit that they're giving you, they're saying, hey, I trust that each month you're going to pay me back. I know it. Yes, you have a $5,000 limit. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to spend $5,000, right? Especially because if you're not making $5,000 a month to be able to spend and pay back, you don't want to do that, right? You want to go based on the money that you have in your account. Meaning, so if your paycheck is $300, you say, you know what, I'm going to budget out $100 a month to use my credit card. And I'm going to, that's going to be my budget. So when they give me this little piece of plastic and I go swipe, at the end, when it's time for me to pay them back on a monthly basis, I've met my match. Does that make sense?
So, miss, you're like giving yourself your own limit within the limit that they give you so that you can pay back before like the interest comes in.
Yes, you get it. Yes. That's exactly right. And that's a part of the strategy. And we're going to talk about that. But I'm glad to see us making, all right, good job. Now, Jamina, I want to answer your question because we're going to get into that, right? The max, because we're going to talk about scores in a second, but just to answer your question now, the max credit score that you can get is an 850, okay? So just to answer that question, and we're going to go over that a little bit further down the line, all right? So credit is super important because like I told you, it pretty much runs your entire life in the different things that you're going to be doing. Hopefully it'll let me switch to the next slide. All right. So why is credit important? Because literally when I say everything that you do involves credit. When you want to get a job, remember, I was denied for a job because of my credit. It's about 45% of employers that look at your credit, and it's not specific to an industry, right? They will look at your credit for washing cars, for being in a financial company, for a call center. Different jobs require this. Now, does that mean that you're automatically going to be denied? No, but you may see them on your credit report, which is a analysis of everything that you've been doing. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay. Now, why is credit so important? Credit is important for you to get the basic necessities of life, but it is also necessary when you want to build wealth. Drop a 1 in the chat if you want to be rich. You want to be wealthy. You want to be comfortable. You want to be, come on, Natalie. She say 111. She want to be rich. Come on. Yes, y'all want to be rich, right? Well, guess what? In order to be rich, you have to know what the rich know. And the rich know about credit, and they know how to leverage credit, right? Key example. Every business that you know of, McDonald's, Burger King, Fashion Nova, Shein, all of those different places have what's called business credit, okay? It's the same thing as personal credit, which is what we're learning about today, but it's for their business. So say, for example, for my future entrepreneurs, for my future business owners, you guys are going to want to understand what business credit is. Now, I'm not the expert on business credit. I'm the expert on personal credit. So everything that has to do with your personal side, nothing that has to do with your business. So if you have a nail business, I can't help you there, right? I can give you resources. I can target you in the right place. But everything that I do has to do with personal credit. But in order to obtain business credit, your personal credit file has to be in perfect alignment. So we'll talk about how to get that in perfect alignment, right? And I have a takeaway at the end that you guys can use in order to keep and go over this information again to have what you need, okay? So since we all want to be rich, we have to know what the rich know. And a lot of them will leverage credit to build their business, right? A lot of people will leverage credit because credit is an access. Like say, for example, now I know I'm pretty sure you guys, did you guys hear about when AMC, like the stock market kind of went crazy and everybody on Twitter and Instagram was going crazy about, oh, I want to invest. But they didn't have direct cash on hand. They didn't have cash in their bank account. A lot of them used their credit card because they had that $5,000 limit. And they said, you know what? I want to invest $100 or $200 of my credit card into the stock market or into NFTs or, you know, those different investment avenues because they wanted to bring money back to them. And I'll be honest,
never thought of doing that. Why didn't I think of that before?
That's how people do it. That's how the rich do it. They'll take their credit card or they'll take loans and they'll invest it into these investment vehicles such as stocks or NFTs. And they will get money back off of that. And they'll pay their credit cards off or they'll pay those loans off, right? That's what the wealthy do. So in order to do that, you got to be hip to it, right? Credit is also good to pay down debt. And it's like, hold on, wait a minute, Brittany, what? Yes, there is a way that you can leverage your credit cards, right? To pay off things such as student loans. Now, this is when either the government or private agencies will say, hey, we want you to go to school because we want you to be a functioning member of society. So we're going to loan you $50,000 to go to school, or we're going to loan you $100,000 to go to school, whatever it is, right? But then guess what? You have to pay all of those things back. There is a way to leverage your credit score to be able to pay those things back. So I'm saying all of this to say, right? Credit is a powerful tool, and you can either use it correctly and build wealth and live wealthy, right? Or you can abuse it, misuse it, and end up in tons of debt, depressed, sad, and upset. Does this make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if it makes sense. Drop a 2 in the chat if you need a little more clarity. Okay, great. Seeing ones. Oh, I love to see ones. Ah! I'm gonna do my dance every time, okay? Awesome. Now, yes, those are the positive ways that credit can be used for to leverage and build wealth or to pay down debt. Perfect, right? And what I'm going to do is when you guys follow me on social media, you guys can DM me. I run my page. I'm going to respond. It may take some time just in case I'm eating, but I run my own page, so I'll respond, right? And if you have further questions, I can send voice notes and those different things there to be able to help and get you towards those resources, because everybody, when we got here today, some folks knew about credit, some didn't, and that's okay. But if there's any way that I can clear things up or lead you in the right direction towards resources that I know will help you, because I have some amazing partnerships that'll show you how to use your credit to pay down debt, right? Or they'll show you how to build business credit. They'll show you how to start a business. They'll help you understand about taxes. So if you need those resources, please do not hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok, because I do write that, all right? But outside of the wealth building things that you can do with credit, you got to understand.
We're trying to encourage them to use LinkedIn. Are you on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn also. I am on LinkedIn. I'm gonna be a very honest though. While I am on LinkedIn, it sometimes takes me a long time to respond on LinkedIn. And it's simply because I don't really get the notifications. I really have tried to figure out how to get the notifications. Even when I have them signed up for it, I still don't get them. So I'm like, so yes, I am on LinkedIn as well. So I'll put that in there as well.
Thanks.
It'll be Brittany Greene as typed below. I'll type it in there. But you won't see the little bald head. You'll see a big fro, because this was before I cut off all of my hair. So you'll be able to find me on LinkedIn there as well. So, but outside of the normal things that we would use credit for, there are certain things. Yes, honey, the bald head. Okay, we went and we chopped from the front. Okay, we chopped. So we had to commit. Commitment is everything. Thank you. So outside of our ways that we can build wealth with credit, we have to understand that we're going to need it for the essential things, such as buying a home or getting an apartment, getting a car, electricity, getting your electricity turned on in your home, getting a job, and even insurance, right? So let's talk about why people may not see results and why you guys are now officially, for being in this workshop, 80% ahead of the game. Number one, people don't see results because they don't have the education. We didn't get this at home. We didn't get it in school, right? So because of that alone, I need everybody to give a clap for yourself. Big up yourself, because guess what? You are going to be ahead of those folks who may not have gotten that education, right? There may be too many ads on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn that may say, oh, hey, I can fix your credit. I can fix your credit. But then they just take your money and they leave, right? Or I can teach you about credit. I can teach you about credit. And then they leave, right? A lot of us don't know exactly what we need to build credit. We don't even, hey, I just learned about credit when I was in college myself, 2011. That was the first encounter. And I didn't know the importance of it until 2015 when I graduated, right? And it was time to get a job. Maybe we have poor spending habits, right? I told y'all, I'm an advocate. I'm a big foodie. So sometimes I had to learn the hard way. Yes, we had to learn from those mistakes. of buying food too much or eating out too much or going and partying too much, right? That was my thing, right? And then, of course, lack of patience and being hard on the self. This is why we started with an affirmation. Before we even got into the information, we started off with an affirmation of saying, hey, I'm gonna be nice to myself, because you know what? I made a mistake, but I'm not going to beat down and boggle on myself because I made this mistake. I'm going to learn from it and apply a different principle. So these are some of the reasons why people don't have a good success when it comes to building credit or establishing a good financial state. This is why we say that credit is the foundation, because if you do well with credit, you're most likely doing better in your budgeting. You're doing a good job of budgeting. So say, for example, if I give you $200, you know how to properly manage that $200, right? That's what good credit is supposed to be a reflection of in the other areas of your life. So this is that foundation. So we're going to set a good foundation, because I know majority of you may not have credit unless your parents used you to build credit, meaning like they did some things in the background to help establish and build credit for you, right? But in the instance that they didn't, you may not have credit at all. And that's okay too. Either if you have bad credit or no credit, no problem. After this, you'll know how to establish and have those good behaviors that'll spill over in every part of your life. All right. So let's talk about what credit is from a breakdown standpoint. All right. So credit scores. Now, when they give you a credit card or they give you a loan, they're going to begin tracking your behaviors on a month-to-month basis. Meaning, and when they track you, they're going to determine where your score ranges from. Anywhere from not available, meaning 0 credit, to 300 to 850. Okay. So anywhere from 300 to about 690 is considered bad credit. Okay. From 690 to 850, you're working on good to excellent credit. Okay. So 0 to 690, bad or no credit. Anywhere from 690 to 850, good to excellent credit. Okay. Now, when they're tracking it, they're looking to see on these three houses, or these three, they're called credit bureaus, right? TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. They're going to do something every single month. They're going to produce a report that says, hey, here's how you've been handling your credit, right? Here's where your credit score is at this time. They house all of the behaviors. So if you're paying on time, if you're managing your cards in a healthy behavioral way, they're going to be tracking those things. Do those things make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Perfect. And drop a 2 if it doesn't, because you guys can let me know, because I want to make sure that you get this, because this is going to be essential, even where you are today as sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Perfect.
Miss, I have a question.
Yeah.
How do these places identify what's good? Because if I'm spending as much as I want to, but I'm paying it back though. I'm paying it back on time before they come for me, but I'm spending like a crazy person. Mm-hmm. So like, how do they say, oh, she's spending too much, but she's still paying back, so she's probably good? Like, how do they decide what's bad and what's good?
We got a success strategy, which is takeaway 4, which is the last takeaway. And I'm going to show you exactly how they develop it. I got you.
Thank you.
I got you, baby. Awesome. All right. So, but these are the places. So these are the folks that determine whether or not you're good. And even if you're spending like crazy, these are the places that determine what's going on and report it. Okay. So TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Okay. Out of the 3 bureaus, they have 2 scoring models in which they report to, right? FICO and Vantage, all right? Both of these in short and in term, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure, if I can get that to you guys, it'll be an additional workshop. it'll be just like an additional YouTube link that I'll have you guys send to them that'll talk about how to, talk about these things a little bit more in depth, just to kind of give some more knowledge beyond today.
I could give it to them next week.
Okay, perfect. And it talks a little bit more about FICO and Vantage, right? Both of these scores are going to be super important because when you go to get a home, a car, apartment, anywhere, they're going to be looking at either model to determine whether or not you're credit worthy or not. But these are the two types that TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax report to give you a score, okay? Now, even though they're going to report to FICO and Vantage, there are still numbers. And when I say numbers, I mean FICO has 28 different scores that they'll give you, one for home, one for car, some for banking, that they'll use, right? And Vantage has 2 different score types under it. All in all, I wanted to give you this education so that you don't do what I did. I walked into a dealership and I was like, oh yeah, I looked on Credit Karma and Credit Karma told me my score was a 720 something. I found out that my score was actually a 690. This happened back in 2016 before I even got into the credit industry, right? 2016. Vantage, or what I seen on Credit Karma, was showing me one thing, but there was another report somewhere else. So the success strategy that I'm going to give you today is something that can balance out all of the different type of scores under FICO and all the different type of scores under Vantage. I just didn't want you guys to go into it blindly, okay? So understand that these are the 3 bureaus. That's the most important piece: TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. And they all 3 report to both FICO and Vantage. No matter what the score is, they report to these different scoring models. Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. I'm doing a temperature check because it's a lot of information. All right, cool, good. I'm glad y'all see, I knew y'all was elite. I knew it. Okay, I only see 3, 1. Okay, 4. All right, so talk to me now. Somebody say something. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's break it down a little bit further before we go into the success strategy. All right, just to give you this extra knowledge that is super crucial. I promise it's super crucial. Okay, so we know that we have FICO and we know that we have Vantage. Each has TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax as the reporting agencies, okay? Giving a little bit more knowledge as to where you can find out if you have a score, and if you do, where you can find it. Boom. FICO, okay? This is the one that's most widely used. 90% of lenders, meaning banks, apartment complexes, employers, most of them are looking at this modeling score right here, okay? You can look this up on Experian.com for free, or you can pay to see your FICO scores. But any web, and I'm telling you this because as you guys get older and as you guys really start to getting and understanding credit, there are going to be a lot of sites that want you to pay to see your scores. The only sites that you should pay to see your scores are these that I'm dropping in the chat right now. Okay, Experian.com, myfico.com. These are going to be the 2 that I recommend the most, but these are the ones, the sites that you want to pay. If you're going to pay these sites. Don't pay any other site to see your credit score. These are the only 2 that you can pay to see your FICO scores, because those are the ones that are mostly used by lenders, employers, apartment complexes, everything like that, right? Most sites that are asking for you to pay for your score are showing what's considered the Vantage model. An equally important score, but only 10% of lenders are checking for that. So if you want to pay for your scores and you have to pay for a site, use FICO. Okay, use Experian.com or myfico.com. These are really good resources to be able to see your credit, see your report, see if anyone has fraud out on your name. If anything there, it just doesn't make sense. That'll be the good starting place to start. Experian.com gives it to you for free, and you can upgrade if you want to see all of your scores, or myfico.com, where you'll have to pay right out the gate. Okay, but that is the most important one to be able to see. All right. Vantage, on the other hand, again, is only used by 10% of folks, employers, lenders, insurance folks, whomever. they're going to be looking at your Vantage. You can see that for free on creditkarma.com. I did see someone put that in the chat. Yes, perfect. I did see that in the chat, so I wanted to make sure that you guys knew, hey, this is where you can go see that, all right? Now, the difference between FICO and Vantage is very simple. It's just the behaviors that you have and how you're using those. And I'm gonna show you the exact correct behaviors that you wanna use in order to get where you wanna go, all right? So let's go into the success strategy. This is part 4. Takeaway 4, this is the last part. I'm gonna have you guys out of here within 15 to 20 minutes. That's if I put that extra 5 minutes on there just in case anyone has any additional questions, all right? So let's talk about the 6-part success strategy on how you can build credit, maintain, and keep and get to that 850 credit score, because I wanna see you guys with 850 credit scores, all right? So the first thing is getting over your fear and looking at your report. Using sites such as Credit Karma and Experian.com to just kind of start understanding where you are. And when you get onto my Instagram or my TikTok, and if you message me, especially on Instagram, if you message me, I will direct you to videos that give you more insight on understanding FICO, understanding Vantage, understanding credit, right? So getting over that fear and looking at your report. And when you see it, if it's not what you want to see, because it falls under that below that 690, still being nice to yourself, because number one, you're still young, right? So you're good. I promise you, you're good. But getting over that fear, a lot of people have fear to even look at their report. Getting over it and just taking a look at it, because 9 times out of 10, it's not as bad as you think. 9 times out of 10, especially for your age group, you just haven't established anything, or maybe our parents kind of tapped in and misused our credit, right? But anything that happens with your credit file, you can come back from, okay? Number 2, I'm gonna put it in the chat now, just so that for those who may have to log off, can get it. Boom. No, it does. Oh, Tia, thank you, girl. I love you. She said it lowers if you check it. It lowers if someone else checks it, right? But if you log on to creditkarma.com or Experian.com, you don't get any dings for checking your own credit report. But if a third person, like if I was to go and run your credit by your social and your name and all that information, then yes, it would ding your score. But you logging in and monitoring your own credit report does not harm your score. Thank you so much for putting it out there. Okay. Point, why does that happen? That the score goes down when someone pulls it. So typically because they're using an external system to spy on you, in a sense, kind of look in your file. Yes, you have to give consent, and if you don't give consent, they can get in trouble for that. And yes, you can get paid for that. You can get paid if someone else is looking at your credit without consent. Now, meaning if they do a soft pull, that's okay. Meaning they don't run a hard inquiry, meaning it will not hurt your credit. So if a soft pull does not hurt your credit, they're just kind of peeking in, that doesn't hurt your credit. But if they do a hard pull, meaning they actually go in and they pull a full report, they're not just peeking in to see who you are and get an idea, that hurts your score because of them running an inquiry. It's a part of the percentage makeup of a score, okay? So you have, credit is all about balance, right? A balance of activity. So these 6 things that I'm gonna tell you to do today is going to help you balance out your file and get the score that you're looking for. But when someone pulls your report, it kind of takes it off balance. It's ugly why they do that. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's ugly, but it's a part of the percentage. It breaks down to 5 things: payment history, how do you use your credit cards, the length of how long you've had your credit cards, any new credit that you've added, meaning every time you apply for a new credit card, that gets factored in, and then how you mix up your credit. Meaning if you have a good, like maybe you have 2 loans and 2 credit cards, that would be considered a good mix, right? So a part of that new credit is when they pull, and it kind of takes from that percentage. Does that make sense? But these are really good questions. Oh my God, I love y'all. Where have y'all been all my life? These are good. Yes, jobs do soft pulls. Yes, they do. But there's a way that you can still look at those. Okay. So getting over your own fear or your own frustration and looking at your own credit report. So it makes some sense. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and more so, and here's the thing when it comes down to inquiries, don't just apply for things where they're just constantly pulling your report. Because a lot of times when they say, okay, and this is something you can ask before you apply for something, are you going to do a credit check? Because you want to know ahead of time, because sometimes they'll just kind of pull you in. Because anytime that a third party does something to your report, meaning they go in and pull that report, they're looking to see, hey, who are you and what are you doing? Who are you and what are you doing? That's what they're looking to see. So when they pull that, it snags at your score. I don't really like that they do that, but it's just kind of something that happens.
I'm wondering if it's like specific fields, because I've never had that experience before.
No, it's no specific. What I'm learning is no specific fields, especially with jobs. Like literally enterprise. I had someone from enterprise who's like, hey, I'm coming to get my credit fixed because this happened. And enterprise is on his report as a hard pull, not a soft pull. They actually did a hard pull for his credit, and they denied him for that job. And it was just to wash cars. It's only about 45% of employers that do that. So yeah. So the next thing is going to be paying on time. The biggest tip that I can give you, and there is going to be a QR code at the end, and I'll make sure that you guys get that QR code as well, where they can have access to the success strategy, and it has tips and things in there that they can follow to build credit. But like I said, get over your fear and look at your report. But 2, pay on time every time. So whenever you get a credit card or you get a loan or anything of that nature that involves credit, if it's going to be reporting to your credit report, pay on time every time and communicate when you cannot. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. There are companies that have your back. Okay, some companies that I've had experiences with that have had my back has been Nissan, right? Capital One credit cards, they have been on my side. Credit One has been on a few of my clients' side. But these are just companies that have been on someone's side as they're building credit, but may have run into a mishap where they cannot pay on time, but they communicate it. So when they communicate it, it helps to save their score. Let me tell you something. One missed or late payment can reduce your credit score. Anywhere from 50 to 167 points is the highest that I've seen it. So if you had an excellent 850 credit score and they knock you down 160 something points, you're now in the poor credit range. You're now in the poor credit range for one late payment. So the best thing that you can do is pay this card on time or pay that loan on time every time, or call that company and say, hey, I lost my job, or hey, I didn't get my paycheck. I can't pay on time. What can you guys do to help me? As embarrassing as it may feel, calling them actually helps you because it takes time to rebuild after that. Okay, so pay on time every time and communicate when you can. Let me know if that makes sense. Drop a 1 in the chat. And thank you guys so much for still sticking with me as we're going through this. I know we started a little bit late, but we got this. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. Let me show you what paying on time can do to your score. We're going to go past this for a second, but I do want to bring attention to this really quickly. In the additional workshop that I got for you guys, I'm going to be, sending over to you guys. We go over this section right here. Okay. I always say, if you're going to start looking at your credit, look at Credit Karma, because it's going to give you colors. And we know what colors mean. Red means bad, right? It means something is going wrong. Yellow means it's a little bit of work, or we need to slow down on something that we're doing. Green means great. You are doing great. Continue doing whatever it is that you were doing. And gray means, hey, baby, you need to establish something because you have nothing in this section to work with. So in the additional video that I'm going to be sending you guys, I go over what each of these things mean, the colors, and how you can get around that, okay? But when you log into Credit Karma and you hit either TransUnion or Equifax, you'll be able to see, and you go down to the summary page, you'll be able to see this here. Yes, Jamina, yes. I heard the longer you have had the credit card, the better. Yes, yes, yes. Girl, I love you, because we are getting into where we're gonna, that's a part of the 6-part strategy, right? That is a part of the 6-part strategy. Let's see if I can go to the next part. Hold on. Yep, it's at the bottom. It's number 6. I got you. We getting there.
Miss, before you move on, as you're moving through, like how, if you get your credit card for a long time, like if you update your credit card, will that help with the credit score?
What you mean update, baby? You mean like add on an additional, like increase the limit? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Update. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. Okay. So before I move on to the next part, I wanted to show you this part right here about paying on time. You see how they track when you pay on time and how many times you've made a payment in a month, right? So as you can see, this person made a couple of payments within a month, and they track that, right? This helps them to build a stronger emphasis to their file, because payment history is 35% of your credit score. So when you don't pay on time, you lose a significant amount of points, but the more that you pay on time, the more that it helps you, okay? All right. The next 2 is going to be healthy credit usage strategy and being consistent. Remember, I told you everything is about not what you do one time, but what you do over time. And yes, the longer that you have a card, the better it is for you, because you're building up, they're able to see what you do, and it's like a relationship. Honestly, that's what credit is. It's like a relationship. The longer that you're in that relationship, the more trust that you can build, or the more distrust you can build if you're mismanaging what you have, okay? So people will ask me, well, how do I properly use my credit on a monthly basis? So to that, because I think it was you that asked me this question before about if I'm using it like crazy, how can they see that I'm managing it correctly, right? Well, of course, if you're paying on time, right? But if you're also paying it down and you're not using more than a certain percentage, this is what I mean. If they give you this credit card right here and they say, hey, I'm giving you $1,000 limit, that's the max that you can spend, right? You want to make sure, and I want you to write this down, by the reporting date. So whenever you get a credit card, the first thing that you want to do is say, hey, boom, when is my reporting date? That's what you want to call them and say, hey, when is my reporting date? They're going to tell you, hey, oh, it's the 19th of the month. Okay, perfect. That is when they report to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, okay? They only report one time a month. So if you're spending crazy through the month, you want to at least make sure that by that reporting date, when they send off that information to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, that you have paid your credit card down to under 30%. Meaning, if your limit is $1,000, that's the max that you can spend, by the 19th of the month, by that reporting date, you want to make sure that the balance that's remaining on that card is less than $300, because that will put you under that 30% mark. Please drop a 1 in the chat if it makes sense, a 2 if it doesn't. We got 2 more points. Okay, perfect. And while you guys follow me on Instagram, you will see me blabber about it all the time. Great. Perfect. Okay. So number 1, look at your report, monitor it monthly. You can do this on Experian.com for free, and you can do it on creditkarma.com for free. The scores may look different if you are not following this 6-part strategy that I'm giving you. Okay. So in order to make sure that it's balanced, get your payment history together. Make sure that you're paying on time every time and communicating when you can't. Make sure that if you are building credit history, meaning like your credit usage, that by that reporting date, it's under 30%. I'll take it an extra step further because I want you guys to be scholars and overachievers. Make sure it's under 10%, right? That way you keep also a good handle on it. And number 4, make sure that you are being consistent in your behaviors. If you have a consistent maxed out credit card, meaning they give you $1,000 limit or max, boom, and you stay there and you're like, oh, I've used $990 and that's your utilization every single month, or what they calculate every single month, you're gonna have poor credit. But if you have $1,000 limit or max that you can spend, but you keep it under, by that reporting date, you keep it under $300 or under $100 according to that percentage, right? And you'll take whatever your max is, meaning if you have a $5,000 limit, 5,000 times 30% or 5,000 times 10%, whatever that number is, you want to make sure that your ending balance by that reporting date is under that amount. Okay. Give you some, okay. Always like to fact check, right? But I know we're working on time.
Brittany, could I stop you for a second?
Of course, my love.
You're giving such good information, and I'm seeing that the students are asking the questions because they really want to know. And I also want to be mindful of the time because some of them had to come off and they're messaging me. Would you be able to come back next week for like 10 minutes to sum it up?
Yes.
That would be okay?
Of course.
Okay, because I also have a meeting that starts, another workshop I have to do at 5:30.
Yes.
So guys, Brittany has agreed to come back for 15 minutes max, right? To sum it all up.
If you need 15, if you need 30, whatever it is, let me know.
No,
I do not mind.
15, because we also have a financial literacy workshop as well that day.
Right.
Right, Tammy?
Yes,
Yeah, so at 15 at the beginning will be good to sum it up, and then we could transition into the financial
That works.
workshop that they have. And what was I gonna say? Damn it, don't remember. But this has been really good. Like, it's a lot of information. Guys, are you guys okay with that? Are you enjoying it? You're learning, enjoying?
Yes, man, it's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's so many people that wanted to stay on, but because they had to go,
Yes.
I don't want them to miss all that you're sharing.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I'll let you do a last final statement, and then we'll just close off and then rejoin again on Friday.
Yes.
Guys, next week, which is our last week, please come on time because we end up dragging today because everyone came late. All right, go ahead, Brittany.
This is my information. In the meantime, I am Brittany Greene on Instagram, but I am Brittany Greene CF on TikTok. But either one that you type in, you'll find me. Add me there. You can email me. You have my website, but do not hesitate to reach out to me before next Friday.
All right, she summed that up. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, thank y'all so much. I know it's a long weekend. You guys have a weekend. Awesome. Plus the Monday off. Enjoy.